dropped on a Tuesday. It's Tuesday Thoughts. John, hear you there. And it'll be an interesting show this morning on a couple of different fronts. 9:30 in traffic in the London area. Lloyd Owers, technical director of the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation football team. He'll be joining us at 9:30 in traffic. And we just want to promote safe guesting is what we always want to do. And so Coach is going to join us to break down what's going on with the Marshall Islands. You'll remember Marshall Islands has promoted themselves as being the last country on this planet without a national football team. And that is changing. And Lloyd spent some time over there. It was 9 days. We'll find out what it was like over there and how things are growing, because we initially tried to have him as he was working his way back to England after the visit. And that just happened to be in time for the wildfires at Lahaina, and that caused all of the chaos there on the islands. And so his travel plans were all kinds of messed up. And last time we tried to have him on, he ended up still being on a plane going from the Pacific heading east toward Hawaii. So we will catch up with Coach at the bottom of the hour and get the updates as to what's going on with the Marshall Islands project, how things were, how things are, and what the next stages are as they continue to develop a national team. And it's in both soccer and in futsal. And so futsal is leaning itself into the whole soccer discussion. So we'll be getting into that at the bottom of the hour. And also, since yesterday was a holiday, hour number 2, we'll catch up with whatever you guys want to catch up on. And, it could be Atlanta United, could be Major League Soccer. We really didn't get into a whole lot of Major League Soccer yesterday. We got into Atlanta United a little bit and got into that discussion and discussed Ismir Pekmic and discussed the twos a little bit. But hour number 2 is wide open to get you ready for the remainder of the week. Your traffic for the week tomorrow should be normal. If Dylan Butler can join us at 10, he can join us at 10. Bart is on notice because 10:30 is Bart's slot now when we come up with national team stuff, reffing down here. And believe me, there's a lot of reffing down here. And so that's tomorrow on the show. Obviously, we'll have all of our episodic programming coming on. And you have the USL Championship. You've got USL League One. You've got MLS Next Pro. All of those episodic programs will be coming up, if not today and tomorrow. We're trying to catch up with some folks whose seasons came to a close. So we are efforting some folks from the Unified team, and we will hopefully catch up with them when it comes to their season ending with a win in Dallas. And we'll find out about the season and what it was like for the Atlanta United Unified team, and tracking down some folks having to do with the 404 kit. Let's see what else. Some guy named Jack Collison. There's a big match coming up this weekend with the twos in Huntsville as they continue to chase after the 7 seed. Match in Huntsville could go a long way to determining what Atlanta United has to do. Basically, if you win out and take care of business, then everything should be fine. It'll be a race to the finish. But you've got this match Sunday in Huntsville. You've got to get a result. You have to match Chicago Fire and or Hunt City to keep it alive. Atlanta's 7 points back with 3 matches to go. A couple of folks, they've got a hopscotch, but the twos, if they take care of business, remember, after this Sunday, it's the home finale on Sunday the 17th, where Inter Miami 2 comes to town, and they're last in the Eastern Conference, so you should be able to get a result there, possibly help you out with goal difference. And then last day of the regular season, the 24th, that we'll have here on the network is from historic Crew Stadium against Crew 2. Crew 2 might have things decided. They might be locked in. They may not necessarily wish to invest the same amount that Atlanta United 2 could. So there's some stuff in play there. And it all is going to start this weekend in Huntsville against Hunt City on Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern. And we will keep an eye on that. Some signings in USL League One we're keeping our eye on. The USL guys will be here on Thursday morning ahead of Nico. So the USL guys will come in because we had midweek whip around last week and all the recapping would have taken away from their time. They're going to be in. I know Kaylor Hodges is going to be in 10 o'clock Eastern on Thursday before Nico, and Thursdays with Nico at 10:30. And then Friday will be, there'll be a bit of a whip around in the 10 o'clock hour, but hopefully, maybe we can, maybe we give our friends at Beyond Goals the week off, considering it's international duty. So we'll see what's up with them as we go. Next week, we'll have a 1v1 with Kit Lefersky from Celtic FC's women's side, and that'll be up on the network. We're catching up with her next Tuesday, week from today, before the show is on the air. And so next week, we're going to be catching up with our friends at Celtic and Kit Lefersky, who had 4 goals in a match earlier this season on the women's side of the SPFL. So it's a pretty busy week. There's a bunch of different directions we can take things, some one-on-ones, hopefully, if they're not live guests, and rocking and rolling that way. So very, very busy week. No real surprise that even if there isn't any MLS going on, there's a lot going on. Like I said, hour number 2 is going to be catching up with you guys and what you guys want to talk about. And it's Atlanta United, it's MLS, it's news in the morning. Jordan Henderson, I know I got to talk about him. We got loans to talk about. Sofian Amrabat apparently is now officially official. All those things. So all of that's in the queue for second hour of the show. And so whatever's on your mind, we can dash through it. And yeah, Ricky, we did get into the LAFC guest list yesterday. We'll go back through it. And Pulisic's response. Michael was at the Dallas match and some of the Unified match. Could have easily won or lost. Not sure what to take from the match. You got a point on the road. That's what you got. Like I said, we get into Izmir Pekmic as well, and he was kind of out to lunch. Bam, rumors are Kevin Muscat, manager of Yokohama Marinos, is taking over at Rangers. We played 24 games for. Yeah, there's a whole lot of discussion about Michael Beal. And with their shaky start, Beal might be out in a hurry. And so seeing Kevin Muscat as part of the rumor mill, not necessarily a surprise. Ricky, international call-ups losing count at 6. Gigi Abram, Saba. So you have, I feel like I should have some dialing music here. Gigi Abram, Sabra, Tiago. Who am I missing? So I've got 4. No, it's all good. No, it's there is some MLS going on this weekend, and one of the matches has to do with Messi and friends, and they're going to have, I think, 6 guys out too against Sporting Kansas City. So Miles 5, and Derek, 6. So Derek is 6. So that's what we know so far. So 6 for Atlanta United right now, but we'll keep an eye on all of that. But like I said, anything on your mind, hour number 2. We'll discuss hour number 2. We'll go back over things yesterday. Like I said, yesterday was a holiday. We did a show, but, like I said, we'll go back over stuff in hour number 2. We'll go back over what you guys want to talk about. Hey, I'll replay the goals from Saturday. I have no problem doing that for 2 days in a row. Like I said, we'll talk about the 2s as well. And Efra got called up too, as did Johnny Vial got called up as well. Yes, knew about Urias. Did not know what happened at the LAFC match. Knew that Julio Urias was arrested again. So if you're a Dodger fan, I know that is another point of contention and concern. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. The QR code on the left is Kickoff Coffee. Kickoffcoffeeco.com. Use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchases. And they, in turn, take 10% reinvested into the youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. The QR code on the left is the QR code on the right, which is now back on the screen for those of you who are just listening to the show, is our friends at Lemonize, and that's our 10 o'clock promo. So, did you see where we might have a loophole in the offside law? And it took a 3rd division club in Sweden to find the loophole. It's your required reading for today. And I'm posting the link. It's from our friends at The Guardian. And there's a video that is attached that gives the example as to how they believe they have skirted the offside rule. So now, according to our friends at The Guardian, there is a philosophical debate after devising and this is the wording from our friends at The Guardian and Paul McGinnis, a cunning way to defeat the offside law. Torns IF, Southern League Etan football in Sweden. Hometown, about 2,000 folks. But they use social media, and we all know what social media can do. Social media can draw folks to you and draw more interest than you would have normally. Their head coach, Richard Ringhoff, is studying the offside law, and this is a part of that presentation. The offside law currently in IFAB says decision on whether a player is offside or not is taken at the first point of contact of the pass leading to the player, not when the ball leaves the foot of the passer. And this is an innovation brought about by the advent of VAR. So the coach for this third division club in Sweden is coaching his players to scoop the ball up with their feet and hold it in midair, basically. You know, like in that 90-degree crook of the ankle and your foot. Hold it in midair. Scoop it up and hold it in midair. The idea behind the coach's thinking is this. If the moment of offside passes, yeah, they did, Rich, and that's in the link that I've posted. The moment of offside passes, as soon as the passer touches the ball, then as long as he keeps the ball in the crook of his foot, that 90-degree angle, his teammates are free to advance as far up the field as they like before receiving it. And they have the one player in the video who's trying to figure out how to make sure he can balance it right there in the crook of his foot, and he finally does. So Torns revealed that they have since contacted IFAB seeking clarification over whether their innovation was in accordance with the rules. According to Torns, the answer might be yes. Torns' account recounts what it claims to be IFAB's responses to their query. Quote, "This is amusing and interesting." I could just see some dude, glasses pocket protector at IFAB. This is amusing and interesting. In terms of the spirit of the law, this is obviously offside. And in terms of the law itself, the balancing of the ball on the foot is a different play from the movement, which gives the ball momentum to move. Torns go on to question when such a movement might begin and end with whether, if in the case of a scooped pass, as is shown in the video, the final point of contact might be pertinent one for any referee. IFAB's response, as posted by Torns, was to review if the wording of Law 11 need changing in light of this theoretical situation. And the Guardian has since reached out to IFAB for comment about this. But if you have someone who can cradle a soccer ball in that 90-degree point, balanced on the instep and right up against the crook of the shin, that 90-degree angle, then you can sit there and you could probably run around Rule 11. And like I said, the video is posted on the Twitch pitch, and that's from our friends at The Guardian. And hey, if it ain't all about dancing around the rules and trying to find ways to get a competitive advantage, and maybe, Torrance finds a way to get promoted because of something like this, if they figure out how to do it, cause confusion among ARs and center refs in and around their entire nation of Swedish playing football clubs, then we've got something here. So well done to Richard Ringhoff and his three-dimensional thinking to try to find a way around the offside rule. Like I said, they have a video posted. It's on their social media. It's on, like I said, it's in the article and it's on YouTube. But well done by our friends at Torrens IF, Southern League, third tier in Sweden, for coming around and finding a way, possibly, probably, around the offside rule, forcing IFAB to actually look at something. And we'll sit there and go, hey, maybe we need to change this rule. But as long as Torrens can take advantage of it, more power to them. But always looking to build a better mousetrap. Always looking to build a better mousetrap. There you go. So that was interesting, shall we say, when it came to determining what's going on with the rules of the game. So offside. There you go. A couple of other things before Lloyd Owers from the Marshall Islands national team joins us at the bottom of the hour. The Spanish men's team is now condemning Luis Rubiales, saying his behavior is unacceptable. They called for the players basically called for a presser. They're at practice and they're like, we're calling a press conference. Y'all can come in. Morata read a statement, joined on the dais by Asensio, Azpilicueta, and Rodri. The rest of the team was there. Those four were on the dais. Rubiales, once again, remember, provisionally suspended by FIFA for an initial period of 90 days, pending the investigation into his behavior. Statement read, the national team players want to emphasize several issues regarding recent events that have harmed the image of Spanish football. First and foremost, we want to convey once again our pride and heartfelt congratulations to the women's team for winning the World Cup in Sydney. Historic milestone filled with significance that will mark a before and after in Spanish women's football, inspiring countless women with an invaluable triumph. Therefore, we want to express our regret and solidarity with the players whose success has been tarnished. We want to reject what we consider unacceptable behavior on the part of Mr. Rubiales, who has not lived up to the institution he represents. We firmly and unequivocally stand on the side of the values that this sport represents. Spanish football must be a driving force for respect, inspiration, inclusion, and diversity, and must set an example with its behavior both on and off the field, end quote. Spain's manager, Luis de la Fuente, had apologized for applauding when Rubiales told the RFEF extraordinary general meeting. Remember that a couple of Fridays ago where he said, I won't resign, I won't resign, I won't resign, said it like 5 times. Only thing missing was him in Nikita Khrushchev fashion, taking off his shoe and pounding it on the dais, on the platform, on the lectern. Remainder of the team statement has said they wish to focus on sporting matters. RFEF regional heads have also called for Rubiales' resignation. Members of the Spanish government have added voices to theirs demanding he step aside. So, yeah, in a video, De La Fuente apologized after initially applauding. And so, basically, how much do the walls have to close in before Luis Rubiales decides that discretion being the better part of valor, he's got a jet? There are some folks who feel that they are so bulletproof and impenetrable, like I feel Rubiales is these days, that he's just going to sit there and ride it out. It's like, make me. And I think that's where we are with Rubiales right now. Ricky says he was missing the Jordan Belfort chest beating. That's where we are, I think, with Rubiales. Rubiales, I think, is going to go to the bitter end with this, and it will be, a decision that he and he alone, I believe, will make. I'm not resigning. I'm not resigning. I'm not resigning. I'm not resigning until I'm resigning. It has to be from Rubiales' point of view, it has to be in his best interest to leave. Do we get to that point, or does he just continue to sit there and be openly defiant and say he did nothing wrong? His mother, by the way, last week after 3 days had to be hospitalized after her hunger strike had started. So, I mean, we're in a situation right now with Luis Rubiales where he's just like, I am who I am. Morning, Tom. We are where we are right now with Spain. And it makes you wonder what the end game will be to finally force Luis Rubiales out the door. Men's team doesn't want anything to do with him. They think that what he did was wrong. Women's team has said the same thing. I don't blame you yesterday for sleeping in, Tom. Not a bit. So there you go. I mean, where do the walls close in? What is the end result? What's the last maneuver where Luis Rubiales says, you know what? I'm too much of a distraction for the men's and women's teams to focus on what's going on and continuing our progress on the world stage. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I need to do. And I can guarantee you, at least looking at it from the surface, it's probably going to end up having to do with some kind of a financial package and an exit deal. And Tom will be getting into Anthony as well in hour number 2. Once again, coming up in a couple of minutes from traffic in London, England, technical director for the Marshall Islands Football Federation, Lloyd Owers. And we're going to catch up on the Marshall Islands project. Remember, the Marshall Islands, they said they were the last country on this planet without a national football team, and Lloyd is a part of the group that's trying to change that. And so it's a fun story to see how something is being built from the ground up. And so every once in a while, we will continue to duck our head in the door and see what's going on with the Marshall Islands. But yes, hour number 2, we'll recap everything once again that you guys want to talk about from the weekend. Since you guys slept in, we didn't sleep in. We continued to labor. We were here at 9:05, but we'll go back over Atlanta United. We'll go back over the twos, go back over Major League Soccer, go back over the weekend of the Premier League, your favorite leagues, your favorite teams, all the news of the morning. That's hour number 2 this morning. So it'll be a recapping of Tuesday thoughts and advancing everything and what to watch, where to watch it, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of news. Anthony, Jordan Henderson, like I said, we talked about Luis Rubiales because the men's team had their press conference, those kinds of things. So as we look at the list of stuff to talk about in hour number 2 after Lloyd is with us, Davinson Sanchez, Tanguy and Ndombele joined at Galatasaray because remember the Turkish window still has a couple of days attached to it. Remember the Saudi Pro window has 2 more days. Jordan Henderson's had an interview. Anthony is part of the discussion as well. Jadon Sancho and Eric Ten Hag are not on the same page. Jurgen Klopp is adamant that no amount whatsoever will tempt to get Mo Salah to the Saudi Pro League. And being the incredibly now, and to do this in traffic really takes some doing. But he's multitasking. We're going to bring Lloyd in here. And he's in his car. You're good.
Good. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Good. I can hear you as well. I was a bit worried for a second, thinking, this is going to be an awful multitasking challenge. But no, it's working so far. The headphones are holding me off.
So how is traffic?
Traffic's horrendous. I'm just between work and just getting from one place to another is absolutely horrendous. Which is the case in the UK all the time anyway. So I can't complain. It's their second nature now.
All right. So what we like to do here on the show is we like to circle back with guests and friends and see how things continue to grow and evolve. And with your project and your involvement with what's going on with the Marshall Islands, how is it?
How was the Marshall Islands? It was very, very productive, very positive, and very successful in the sense of we achieved what we wanted to achieve, and we achieved a lot more than that anyway as well. So, we went out with hopes, and we came home with those hopes succeeded, but also we managed to achieve a lot more. So the things of the league creation wasn't even planned. It just naturally happened because of the interest that was there.
Nothing wrong with that. And you've also got, and for those that haven't had the chance to see, there's great pictures and video of your 9-day visit to the Marshall Islands. And I was explaining to folks before you came on that we wanted to have you on, but your travel plan coincided with the wildfires in Hawaii, and you were in the air and trying to work your way back home with all of this. And on the way out, you had delays as well. I mean, getting through all of the travel chaos and still having 9 solid days out there really, I think, where things are growing.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, there was a flight cancellation like 5-6 hours before the flight to the Marshall Islands from Honolulu. Differences on the way back. Yeah, it was unbelievable in terms of the challenges that could be thrown in. But like you said, it still actually had a good stint on island. So I think that was the key to it. We still managed to get a lot done overall. It's still a short space of time. But it was long enough to be able to succeed in the things we wanted to do. We wanted to go out to have kids sessions, and we did that with a lot higher numbers than planned. We wanted to have men's sessions, we wanted to have women's sessions, we wanted to have coach education workshops, and we did all that. The good thing about it was, like I said, because there was so much interest in the kids sessions, we were able then to start regular sessions from that. So we have 2 sessions per week now for kids. We have an adult men's league, futsal league. Women's futsal, soccer is going to be a little bit harder to grow. I think that's going to take a little bit longer time, but we will get there. And I think that's where the connections to the US come into play, because we've actually been contacted by 4 teenagers, 13, 14 years old, that are female players in the States that are of Marshallese descent. So long term, if we can get those girls involved, that's great, because hopefully then that can inspire more girls to play, because they can see other people doing the same thing.
What's it been like for you to see this organic growth, whether it's futsal or football, there on the island at the time that you got to spend there?
It was actually quite humbling in the sense of we started it with nothing, and we had this idea real picture perfect way of getting everyone playing, but we just thought it would take a lot longer. So obviously when we saw kids wanting to play and adults wanting to play, it gave us it gave us a lot of hope that this could work. So it's humbling in that sense, but it's actually really positive in the sense that we can start things a lot sooner. We didn't really expect the kids sessions to be running as quickly as they are. We didn't expect to have a league in place, and bearing in mind we started 8 months ago with absolutely nothing. And then even up to 2 months ago, it was absolutely nothing. Now there is actually stuff happening, to the point of next summer we've got the regional tournament with 5 other nations where the national team can play, albeit in futsal, which there's huge justifications for every nation involved, which makes a lot of sense to play that format of the game. But yeah, that's actually happening now, and it's really great to see that we've started that from nothing to this level, and being able to unite Marshallese people around the world at the same time.
Technical Director of the Marshall Islands, Lloyd Owers, in traffic in London, hanging out with us here on Soccer Down here in the morning, giving us the Marshall Islands update. Also picked up with Lloyd at coachingdevelopment.uk with all of the coaching knowledge you need. How many pinch me moments have you had, say, in the last 8 months?
How many
pinch me moments have you had?
I'm really sorry. I think this is where the traffic's killing me now. What was that one?
How many moments have you had where you're sitting there going, I can't believe what's going on here?
Oh, sorry. I think that was probably what caught me by surprise then as well, because that question still baffles me anyway. I think I have that moment all the time. I think I have that moment all the time where it's just like, this is actually happening. And especially, pre-session notes, we spoke about the guys in the US, for example. We've come across 3 Marshallese players, male players that play in the university system in the US. And to give those guys the opportunity to represent their country, their roots is amazing. So but also just the opportunity to give another sport to a nation. There's not many times you can say that, I think. If you look at most nations, they play most sports. So to actually give a country the opportunity to play a different sport on an international platform, and to be part of that process is quite humbling in itself. It's one of those ones you have to pinch yourself a lot of times.
How did you get involved in this in the first place? For those that don't know the story, how did you get involved?
It actually came about. So I finished a master's degree. I studied later in life, to be honest. I'd worked in industry for years and realised I wanted to go back and study the next stage. So I did a master's degree coming out of lockdown a couple of years ago. And then once it finished, I realised I'd missed writing for some reason. And so I started like a blog site and it was interviewing people around the world, putting some coaching sessions on just to help people really and raise awareness in different places and different people. And one of the interviews was with a couple of guys from Samoa, and those guys were incredibly passionate about what they were doing, and it just became a really popular post. And what it did was it spiraled my own network. People were connecting from LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook even, all over the place. And one of those guys was Shem Levi, the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation president. And next thing was we were just talking back and forth a lot of times. He asked me to put a presentation together of how I could help the nation. And then I spoke to the board, and I was offered the role as the technical director. The next thing is where we are now. It's a very random one.
What has the response been like with your family and friends who sit there and go, dude, A, where are the Marshall Islands? And B, what are you doing?
Everyone's still get it now, actually. Like, where's the Marshall Islands? So it's still a common question. I think a lot of people initially were saying that question, where is it, but why? But once you actually talk about the opportunity to be part of something historic in the sense of you put in the game, that the most popular game, arguably, in the world, on the map for a country, and that's part of history, and that's amazing to be part of. And once you start to tell that story, and also then it spirals off into helping kids play and giving a platform to the people to wear their nation's flag. And I think I've used a quote before around like that cool runnings feel to it. That's the joy of it. And once you say that and you have the passion to talk about it yourself, I think then a lot of people realise, okay. And what it's actually done is a lot of people want to be a part of it now. Like a friend of mine I've known for years in the UK, he's a coach but also a teacher and good coach education background. He's going to do a couple of bits for us. There's another guy who lives in Canada, but British guy. I think he's now working with FIFA, who's now going to do some bits for us in terms of coach education. So people are helping out, and it's now being able to get to the point where the awareness is risen for the Marshall Islands.
How do you get there from England?
Oh, a difficult challenge. So I left. To put it into context, I think with a couple of stopovers, it took me 42 hours. So it's London to San Francisco, then a break, San Francisco to Honolulu, then a 12-hour break, and then Honolulu to Majuro in the Marshall Islands. So the shortest flight is 5.5 hours. So I think it's around 27, 28 hours of actual flying time.
How does your body adjust to 20
honestly,
flight?
My body was. I tried to stay on whatever the time zones were all the time, so I would just try to stay awake through stupid times. But the hardest part was crossing from Honolulu to Majuro in the Marshall Islands, because compared to the UK, Honolulu was 11 hours behind the UK, but the Marshall Islands were 22 hours ahead of Honolulu. So I was almost going 11 hours back to then jump 22 hours forward. So I crossed like the international date line. My body was absolutely shot to pieces. But I think it was easier going there because we had things to do. Coming back, then I struggled. Like 2 days after being home, I just remember just feeling like I've been run over. I was I was really struggling.
How can folks help?
Continue to raise awareness of the story in terms of where the Marshall Islands are, what we're doing. But then the biggest thing for us now, and it's horrible to ask because I just, I hate talking about things like money and sponsors and stuff like that, but it is the way we have to grow now. And for us to be as successful in terms of combining, giving opportunities for the US-based players, but also being able to, I want to go and win this tournament next summer. I don't want to go and just, I don't want to be there just to make up the numbers. I want to have a competitive team in the futsal tournament to win it. So for us to be able to achieve that and get the best squad together makes it hard because, like I said, we have to use those US-based players. We have to use players on other islands in the Marshall Islands, and that costs money. And we are still solely reliant on. So if anyone wants to sponsor in terms of partnering with us, we have a range of opportunities for businesses or individuals based on your budget. So you have budgets to suit or opportunities and packages to suit all budgets, I should say. But if anyone wants to just drop money into our GoFundMe page, you're more than welcome. And our website is rmi.soccer. And Twitter, we are, what are we on Twitter? We are SoccerFedMI.
Yep. As a part of all of this, I don't think a lot of folks know here in the United States that the four corners on the eastern side of things, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, in there, one of the highest concentrations of Marshallese individuals outside of the islands themselves, and they came to be employed by the poultry it's work in the poultry industry. But yeah, one of the biggest concentrations is right there in Arkansas and Oklahoma. And I don't think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, if I'm right in thinking, I think it's 30,000 Marshallese based around Arkansas, 15,000 in one town in Springdale. We've discovered a few that are playing, so recreationally with friends. Some play in spring leagues, which is great. And like I said, obviously we've got the other guys. So we've got two guys that play university level in Pennsylvania. We've got a guy that plays university level in Virginia, and another university level guy in Missouri.
How difficult is it for you to be a technical director 27 hours away on flight?
I think when you look at it, you'd actually think it'd be really difficult, but it works somehow. We're able to make it work because I'm available on the phone, I'm available by email at random times and random time zones. We have good guys that are working there and running the cores for us in person, like the locals. We're doing online coach education workshops to help those guys and get things playing. I send out like weekly session plans for the guys to follow, and if they need to adapt it, they can, obviously, but just as a sort of frame of reference. But I think because we're almost in that like middle bracket time zone wise, because a lot of the players that we're going to be dealing with over time, especially long term, are US based, and I'm in that middle time bracket. I'm 11 hours behind the Marshall Islands. I'm around, depending on where it is in the US, I'm between 5 and 11 hours ahead of the US. So I'm in that middle bracket. I'm quite a fortunate position. I can talk to both zones quite comfortably. And I think that helps. And then what we'll do over time, once we get more funding and more opportunities and more sponsors, it allows myself and others as well to go out more often and then be on the ground more to help drive it to the next levels. So at the moment, it works somehow.
And it's been really cool for us to see. At Lloyd Owers on the Twitters, at SoccerFedMI on the Twitters. Be safe in traffic, my friend. I think I've got your basketball guy for you, too.
Thank you. No, cheers. Appreciate that.
So, Lloyd, be safe. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you for everyone listening as well.
All right. That's Lloyd Owers. Lloyd is the technical director for the Marshall Islands and their soccer project. And they're starting things with futsal first and building it into a soccer program. So very, very cool stuff from our friends in the Marshall Islands. And it's always cool to kind of drop in, say hi, how are things progressing? And, because once again, it's promoted as the last nation on this planet that does not have a national soccer federation and a national team. And so Lloyd and all of his contacts are working to make that happen. And next summer is this first marker with the regional, I guess the Polynesian regional futsal tournament that it's going to involve the Marshall Islands and a couple of other nations. And looking forward to that. So looking like maybe July, August of 2024. And it would be that next summer time frame. And there's a lot to the story here that is off the field. And when it comes to the islands themselves and global warming and how the surface area of the Marshall Islands, and it is a series of islands and archipelagos and atolls and things. Nothing like world geography class to help you out with terminology. There's a lot having to do with the history of the U.S. military. There's a lot having to do with World War II and Korea and the U.S. involvement and them still being a part of things. And the Marshall Islands, once again, dealing with global warming and not having as much surface area, and their surface area is decreasing. And so you have all of these different things in play. You have the U.S. Percentage of the Marshall Islands folks that are there right there, Springdale, Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. And you've got the growth of USL Championship in Northwest Arkansas. And so you have folks in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You have folks in Springdale, Arkansas, once again, working through the poultry industry. And that was how this concentration of Marshallese made their way from the islands to the United States. There's a lot of politics that's attached to this. There's a lot of history that's attached to this. There's a lot of the future that's attached to this. And that's why we've kind of wanted to continue to tell the story as it updates. And so Lloyd and everyone with the Marshall Islands also has golden ticket status. So if there's something that is going on, Lloyd can basically DM and sit there and go, dude, I want to come on the show. And he can come on the show and we talk about it. So that's where we are with the Marshall Islands. And, once again, thanks to Lloyd for multitasking in traffic in London, England, to have that interview. So very, very cool stuff from our friends with the Marshall Islands, at Lloyd Owers on Twitter, at SoccerFedMI on the X. And so follow them and continue to be updated on the story as we go. So very, very cool stuff once again from our friends at the Marshall Islands. Okay. Tom, and I know that we're, probably going to be doing some recapping yesterday. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time for those that were not here yesterday, that were sleeping in and missed what was going on. Yes, we did some reffing down here yesterday, Tom, about the non-call on Miles for the opening goal. We did some reffing down here about Brooks Lennon getting stomped on and getting nothing either from VAR or from a whistle to begin with. Dallas should have had 10. They really should have. I mean, I don't know how you don't give a card. I don't know how you don't give a yellow. I don't know how I guess I should backtrack. I don't know how you don't consider a red. I don't know how you don't even give a yellow. So there's that. So let's have some fun. Let's have some fun here on Tuesday. Did you know that that you had scores from? Did I already? No, I didn't. I did not. I thought wait a second here. Okay, hang on. All right. Well, I thought that I had. Okay, so interesting. All right. So I guess I eliminated one too many files, which is on me totally. So, all right. So let's play some goals. Let's have some fun. All right. So with the first episode of Reffing Down here, Miles gets bumped. Miles gets pushed over and should have been a foul. Didn't get a foul call. Dallas keeps possession of the ball. Puts it centrally, gets it past Brad, down 1-0 with 4 minutes in. Took a little while for Atlanta United to get into the match. And then this moment happens with some dude who's chasing after the golden boot. a couple of minutes before the break, courtesy of our friends at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Here's Mike and Jason with the equalizer.
Turning into the central channel and coming forward now into the attacking third. Ahead to Yakimakis. Back heel to Lennon, top of the 18. Back to the left. Here's Almana with a pitch to Yakimakis. Header! Score! Boom, Yakimakis. It counts. And it's 1-1 in the 44th minute.
There you go. So it's 1-1 in the 44th minute. Then, second half, Atlanta on the front foot, and we get a moment. Another one of the new guys adds his name to the stat sheet. Some guy named Saba, because if you tried to put Lobjanidze on the back of a jersey, it would be like the Allison Mastrangelo jersey from Media Day a couple weeks ago. It would probably go shoulder to shoulder with a bit of a curve to it. So just Saba. Thank you. 2-1. Once again, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app.
Second ball dug away by Wiley to Sosa. Sosa playing a long diagonal to an open Saba on the right wing. Lennon overlapping. Here's Saba to the edge of the 18. Into the box. Saba Lobjanidze. Saba with a touch. Shot! Score! Saba Lobjanidze beats Jimmy Maurer to the far post, and Atlanta United has come back to take the lead.
There you go. 2-1, finishes up 2-2. And we looked at it yesterday and how difficult it is to get points on the road and how difficult it is to get results on the road. And Atlanta United gets a point on the road in Dallas. Go over the numbers once again. In the standings, Eastern Conference, there are 2 teams 500 or better right now on the road. Cincinnati and Orlando, 1-3. New England is awful on the road, but they are world beaters at home. Orlando, once again, above 500 both. Philadelphia, only 1 loss at home. Below 500 at home. Columbus, 1 loss at home. Well below 500 on the road. Atlanta United below 500 away from home. They've lost 3 times at home, 8-3-3. But yeah, Nashville on the road, 3 wins. Columbus on the road, 3 wins. New England on the road, 3 wins. And in the West, you have 3 teams that are 500 or better. Seattle at 5-5-3. Salt Lake, especially after picking up Chicho Arango, they're 6-4-3 away from home. And then Minnesota, of all people. Minnesota 6-6-2. They're hideous at home. 3-2-7 at home this year, 6-6-2 away from home. So that's 5 teams in a 29-team league that are 500 or better on the road. That's where you are right now. And how crazy are things? Once again, you have the stack above Atlanta. 4 teams, 2 points, and then Atlanta's in 6th. Nashville's 2 points behind, and then there's a gap. There's a 5-point gap between Nashville and Montreal, 40 points to 35. Then it's D.C., and then there's that other group. 5 teams, 4 points, chasing after the 9 slot. Wayne Rooney went off the other day about wanting to bring in wanting to sign a couple of players and not being able to do it because of the current constraints that Major League Soccer has when it comes to salary cap, etc. And it's another example, albeit a lesser example, from Messi and friends about how Major League Soccer needs to address what's going on with teams wanting to spend money or needing to spend money and not being able to because of the current constraints that they have on the salary picture. But right now in the Eastern Conference, 5 teams, 4 points for the 9 spot. DC's at 9. Chicago's 10 below the playoff bar, 32 points. Charlotte's at 31. NYCFC's at 30. Red Bull's at 29. Miami's at 25. They have matches in hand. Keep an eye on that Kansas City match because of all of the absences that they have, meaning Messi and friends, for international duty. There's going to be a lot of folks who will not be playing for Messi and friends this weekend. Nine players. Ascona for the Dominican, Callender and Kromoski for the U.S., so you won't have Drake Callender in net facing Sporting Kansas City. Gomez for Paraguay, Krivtsov for Ukraine, Joseph, Messi, David Ruiz for Honduras, and Robert Taylor for Finland. 9 absences for Inter Miami in this window. They will not have them for this matchup at home against Sporting Kansas City. Sporting, by the way, only is missing Marnos Zionis for Cyprus. So all of the firepower. The Inter Miami was a minus 200 when the week started. A minus 200 when the week started. Let's see where things are. I mean, if you could get a plus number on Kansas City right now, now things have changed. Okay, it started out a minus 200, and then the juice boxers were like, wait a minute. But now Inter Miami's a plus 122 at home. Juicebox purveyors finally realized, they're missing 9 players. Sporting's at a plus 188 on the road. Just because of necessity, this could be one of those games where if Sporting ends up with full points, that really could, that's going to take a nice little chunk out of what you've built so far. But to answer Ricky's question, it is 6. Abram, Almada, Gigi, Efra, Lobjanidze, Miles. Efra is the 6th one. So 5 on the first team and Efren Morales, and you've also got Johnny Vial, who's working with the U19s for El Tri. Chiellini, after facing Messi and friends, says Messi's Inter Miami by far the best he's faced in Major League Soccer. Well, when you have Busquets, Jordi Alba, and Lionel Messi, then the answer to that would be, yeah, you can kind of see that. So there you go. That's where we are this weekend. And there's other matches, like I said, we'll go over them in more detail on Friday because information obviously changes. DC's a home favorite against San Jose. They need that in that 9 spot. They're at a minus 130. San Jose on the road is a plus 324. San Jose on the road this year is 2-7-4. Loons at home, where they are awful, are a minus to the Revs. Minnesota is missing Timu Pukki and Joseph Rosales. Some folks might already sit there and say, well, they ain't missing much if Timu Pukki's not in the lineup. The Revs are missing Noel Buck to England's U19s and Christian Macoun to Venezuela. Timbers and LAFC. Timbers are a plus 184 at home late night on Saturday. LAFC is a plus 129 on the road. They will not have Maldonado. They will not have Christian Oliveira. Portland, on the other hand, will not have Brian Acosta or Miguel Araujo. Galaxy in all caps are your late night game on Sunday. LAG is a minus 115. St. Louis City is a plus 263. No one missing for St. Louis. LAG is missing Kelvin Leerdam and Eric Zavaleta. Once again, folks would sit there and say, are we really missing them? But Leerdam is away for Suriname, and Eric Zavaleta is away for El Salvador. The list came out for everybody who was at the Messi and Friends match with LAFC. And there were at least 3, if not 4, close-ups of Selena Gomez, who was completely and totally in awe of her surroundings. And there were moments where you should sit there and go, well, yeah, So we'll go over the list. The folks that were there. Alaman, I don't know you. I don't know him. Music artist, okay. Kingbot, comedian, content creator. Don't know you. Never heard of you. Be Real, Cypress Hill / music artist. Mookie Betts, LA Dodgers. And yeah, Julio Urias was on that list. Connie Britton was there. Friday Night Lights, Nashville. Gerard Butler. Would have been cool to have him do the This is Sparta, the 300 thing. That would have been pretty funny. Jaime Camel. Like I said, he's an actor. I don't know. Leonardo DiCaprio. Insert jokes here. They've already turned to old jokes. James Harden, NBA player, 76ers. And yesterday, folks told me who Tom Holland was. You had multiple Spider-Mans in attendance yesterday, or at the Messi and Friends match over the weekend. Bobo from Cypress Hill / music artist. Tom Ellis, don't know Tom Ellis. Will Ferrell, I know Will Ferrell. Liam Gallagher, you figure Liam Gallagher would find a way to be there. Selena Gomez, actor, music artist. Brendan Hunt, there all the time. LeBron James, NBA player, Lakers. Clayton Kershaw, Prince Harry, Magic Johnson, Mario Lopez. I'll repeat the line that I had yesterday. We did not see Elizabeth Berkley, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, or Mark Paul Gosselaar. I was disappointed. Solomar Dueña, as we get ready for Cobra Kai Season 6, and apparently there's going to be like this magnum opus time-bending thing that might have Ralph Macchio's real sons. And so this might be this time-bending thing when Season 6, the series season finale, shows up. Meghan Markle, Tobey Maguire. So you had Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire. I had this vision of them in whatever suite, just kind of pointing at each other. Nas. I know Nas. Ed Norton. Shavo Odagian, System of a Down / music artist. Glenn Powell, ready to save the day if he needs to. Rage Against the Machine. No like individual names, just Rage Against the Machine. Music artist. They're there. Rufus the Soul. Don't know you. Hannah Stocking. I'd have to look you up. Comedian / content creator. Jason Sudeikis. He's there a lot. Oliver Trevina. Actor. Don't know you. Tyga. Not Tiger, but Tyga. Tyga. Music artist. We mentioned Julio Urias. Owen Wilson. He's there a lot. Mario Williams, USC wide receiver, not to be confused with Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner, as he's listed in Stephen Yuen, actor. I mean, literally, that was a sheet that was put out by communications for LAFC. That's the list of the notable attendees. And I mentioned it yesterday. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they were listed separately. They were pulled apart by 3 names. I would have thought that they would have been together. I thought they would have been paired together. So, it's always Meghan Markle, Prince Harry. And Meghan Markle on the sheet of paper was not identified as the Duchess of Sussex. And neither was Prince Harry labeled the Duke of Sussex. So you did not get a royal identification of the two of them when they showed up. You did not get that ID of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Say that 10 times fast. They were just Prince Harry, Meghan Markle. Not Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but Prince Harry, 3 lines later, Meghan Markle. I always thought that you had to identify them royally, but that's just me. Ricky, wonder how far the walk is from his dormer apartment to BMO for Caleb Williams. I don't anticipate it being very far. And yesterday, the Hallmark Channel, by the way, showed Meghan Markle's movie with Christopher Polaha. That was on in the afternoon. They went way back into the time machine yesterday to show some movies. Pulisic definitely tried to call him out. Be Real. Okay, according to Bam, Be Real is going to drop a third LAFC song in the coming weeks. Bam, let me ask you this. How much content is there if you're dropping songs on LAFC? I mean, is it like player individual stuff? Is it about, hey, LAFC is the greatest team on the planet? Is it like a team song? Is it a player-specific song? Is it something about Denny Bwanga or Ryan Hollingshead? John McCarthy, maybe? If Be Real drops a song about John McCarthy, Be Real is the man. But yeah, I mean, I want to know, is it like individual songs or is it like specific team, player songs? That would be my biggest question. Yeah, I know, Ricky, no Andrew Garfield. Hutch, you are a content creator. When you are interacting here on the show, you are a content creator. But Ricky, I do not know how far of a walk it is for Caleb Williams, but I would anticipate that it is not very far. And even if it is, I'm sure he could pick up an Uber or somebody could give him a lift without much of a problem. We're past the top of the hour. So that means one thing. It is time to cut a promo. And we will do so once I adjust the volume so it's not blaring in my ears. And we'll talk about our friends from Lemonize. Rotor-free, clean, fresh air, one place you need to go. It's a Lemonize service. Lemonize service, proud sponsor of everything SDH. Lemonize deodorizes enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos. They created a customized solution with Lemonize all organic odors, including those like pet cigarettes and food. Realtors and property managers use the Lemonize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. It's a turnkey process, whatever that means. Someone in real estate is going to have to explain this to me. Turnkey process makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment. We like that. Offering a green way to get rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue whatsoever. Different than Febreze or our favorite masking agents that we have either under the sink or above us in the cupboard. Because when we reach either under the sink or above us in the cupboard and we grab that masking agent, we spray it in the air in whatever room we're in, there's a reason they call it a masking agent, because all it does is mask the odor. It does not attack the problem like our friends at the Lemonize service do with their proven scientific formula. By the way, QR code over my left shoulder. For those of you watching on social media, either on Twitch, Twitter, or the Facebook, or the X, or whatever we're calling it. Destroys it down to the molecule pricing. Very, very easy. One of two ways. Either by the cubic foot or parts per million and come up with a price that's affordable for you. Offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any questions, frequently asked or otherwise, reach out to Lemonize on their website. And this is where I grab my pen. Lemonize.com, but then, as the sign over my shoulder says, /Atlanta. So it's Lemonize.com/Atlanta, Lemonize.com/Atlanta. So that way, Lemonize knows what part of the world that you are addressing them from so they can help you with your problems. ELIMINIZE.com/Atlanta, Lemonize.com/Atlanta. Lemonize service, proud sponsors of everything SDH, 7 days a week. Even if we only do programming, live programming, 5, they're still part of all that we sponsor every single day. All right, so Bam says, so far it's a team song. So far they have Do It for LA by DJ Flicked, Kid Inc., and Be Real. And they also have Reppin' the City by DJ Flick, Cypress Hill, and Shavo from System of a Down so far. So, okay, they're team songs. But how many times can you sing a song about a team? One in preseason, one at the All-Star break, and one when the season's over? Maybe one going into the playoffs and one when the season's over? So a third team song apparently is coming out for a Do It for LA. LAG fans might have something to say about it. DJ Flick, Kid Inc., and Be Real coming up soon. All right. Hour number 2, whatever's on your mind. We do have some news to discuss from the morning. But, yeah, so if you guys want to get back into reffing down here, like I said, that's tomorrow. Reffing down here tomorrow with Bart. as a part of his discussion at 10:30. And we'll get into what happened in Dallas or what didn't happen in Dallas, any other places that you guys have stuff that you want to talk about, any other reffing moves, and we'll talk about national team duty and things like that with Bart at 10:30. Dylan Butler hopefully can join us for his discussions about Major League Soccer at 10 o'clock, unless he is taking care of things that have to do with family. And that is far more important than coming on and talking about soccer for 30 minutes with us. So Dylan Butler, hopefully he's in charge in Dylan Butler Estates. Bart Keeler joining us at 10:30. And like I said, we're chasing after a lot of guests this week and next. And so we will effort those individuals, and we will rock and roll. Bam says, Be Real and Eric Bobo are regulars on the drums in the 3252, as they are about the culture the 3252 has built. I'm going to need pictures. I don't know who Be Real or Eric Bobo are. I'll just take your word for it. News of the morning. Actually, we have some of this, and it's out of Statesboro. So we've got to go here before we get into anything else. So hang on just a second. And it's what happens, you got to turn things down, turn things off. Here you go. News out of Statesboro this morning. And it has to do with the staff that assists Ian Cameron. Tom Morris, who's been serving as associate head coach, first joined the club in 2019, departs for Charlotte FC. Simultaneously, the organization is excited to introduce Jordan Melia, who's been serving as a League One assistant, also academy head coach, as the newly appointed first assistant for the remainder of 2023, effective immediately. Drew DeJohn and Jay Peak of Tormenta FC Academy will assume all of the USL Academy coaching responsibilities for the remainder of the 23 season, where Tormenta sit at the top of the table at 6-2-1 with 3 matches to go. Quote from Ian Cameron, Tom and I started our journey at Tormenta back in 2019. From that date, we made every strategic decision together. It comes as no surprise an organization like Charlotte FC perceives Tom as an asset that can add great value, much like he has here. Tormenta FC, for their part, continue to demonstrate the ability to give young players, coaches, and front office staff a platform to showcase their abilities and create a professional pathway. Excited to now see coaches like Jordan step into an elevated role within USL League One, take us even further on and off the field. So Tom Morris departing for Charlotte FC. Jordan Melia, who now becomes the number 1 assistant under Ian Cameron for the remainder of the year. And once again, shocking no one, USL League One, the sprint to get in is always tight, and it's going to continue to be tight. So it's going to be a tight race to get into the playoffs. North Carolina FC, Northern Colorado up top, and everyone chasing. But there are a lot of folks trying to elbow their way into the playoff picture. We'll get into that with our USL League One episodic, the review preview. That'll be out later today. USL Championship out later today. MLS Next Pro out later today because they had a match in the Western Conference out late last night. And so now that the week is complete, we can talk about the week that was in MLS Next Pro that included a 3-1 win for Atlanta United 2 over FC Cincinnati 2 that eliminated FC Cincinnati from playoff contention. And so Atlanta still, once again, let's recap Atlanta and get into the recapping of Atlanta United 2 here. You can hear all the goals in the Week in Review show. Eastern Conference, Crown Legacy is in at 58 points, 4 points ahead of the Revs. Red Bulls are third right now at 50 points, Crew 2 at 48. They're in. Just don't know the order. Right now, Orlando City Bees in fifth, 40 points. Hunt City, Chicago Fire, 25 matches played. Hunt City has one more win than Chicago, 9-8. NYC, and that's your playoff bar right now. NYCFC, Philadelphia Union, both at 33 points. NYCFC has one more win than Philly. Atlanta United 2, 3 matches to go, 30 points. Like I said, still mathematically alive. They have to match Chicago this weekend. Chicago plays before Atlanta United does in Huntsville. So Atlanta United will at least have an idea as to how to keep pace with Chicago, and we'll get into the schedule coming up in a bit. Night Bam, we'll see you tomorrow. Get some rest. Atlanta United 2's at 30 points. Once again, 3 matches to go. 7 back, 3 matches to go. They've got 2 to hopscotch, who are only 1 win ahead of them. And then Toronto FC 2 is at 28 points, still mathematically alive, but they only have 6 wins on the year. They would have to win out. Chicago would have to lose out, and everybody else around Toronto would have to lose out as well, because Toronto would need to win out, and they would only get to 9 wins at that point. So keep an eye on that. 4 teams still alive below the playoff bar. NYCFC, Philadelphia, Atlanta United, and Toronto FC 2. Cincinnati out at 27 points. Inter Miami 2 out at 18 points. They've given up 62 goals this year in MLS Next Pro. They've only scored 26 in 25 games. And remember that we talked about the match with Sporting this weekend. 9 players out for international duty for Inter Miami. That means that you're probably going to be seeing a lot of Inter Miami 2 players on the bench, or even a short bench for Tata Martino. This will be a test for Tata this weekend with Sporting Kansas City coming to town. Western Conference, Colorado and Tacoma have clinched their division titles. Colorado at 57 points. Right now, 8 points clear, 3 matches to go over Tacoma. Colorado leads in the Frontier by 9 over Austin with 3 matches to go. Austin, if they won out, Colorado lost out. Austin would still only have 15 wins. Colorado's your number 1 in the West. At least if they get, 3 matches. If they get 2 points. Actually, if they get 1 point. Because if they get 1 point, they're at 16 wins. Tacoma would have to win out. They'd be at 15. So Colorado needs 1 point to clinch the top seed in the Western Conference with 3 matches to go. Tacoma won the Pacific. They're at 49 points. Rapids won the Frontier. They're at 57. Austin FC, 48 points. Sporting Kansas City at 47. So 2, 3, and 4 are still trying to sort themselves out in the Western Conference. Then you have 4 teams separated by 3 points, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It is St. Louis City, all caps 2 at 40. Earthquakes at 39. Loons 2 at 38. That's your playoff bar. Houston Dynamo Dos at 37 points. Then you've got Whitecaps at 33. Timbers 2 at 31. 2 wins ahead of Real Monarchs. North Texas eliminated with 30 points. They only have 2 matches to play, so they could only get to 36. Galaxy 2, Los Dos are out at 25 points, 3 matches to go. LAFC 2 are out 19 points and 3 matches to go. Los Dos, they've given up 66 goals this season in MLS Next Pro. You want, and getting into the schedule just to keep an eye out for things that are going on. Tacoma beat the Timbers last night 4-0. So we mentioned what's going on Sunday. Hunt City and Atlanta United, 7 o'clock, Joe Davis. Jason will have the call for you. 6:45 will be your pregame here on the SDH Network and soccerdownhere.net. 4 matches ahead of time. Crown Legacy and Red Bulls. Sporting hosting Chicago Fire at Mercy Victory Field. Those are 5 o'clock starts Eastern time on Sunday. So with the Fire match on the road at Sporting and Atlanta in Huntsville, Atlanta has to match either Hunt City or Chicago. If they match them both, they get a draw, extra points, whatever. So Atlanta matches Huntsville and Chicago to keep pace. They would have 2 matches to go. 1 against Inter Miami next Sunday, not this Sunday, but next, the 17th. Then the 24th, Crew 2 is how they finish up the season at historic Crew Stadium. And if Crew 2 already have things all squared away, but they may not be putting out a full-size squad. They may not be putting out a full-strength squad to go up against the 2s. So, interesting subplots, but Atlanta United 2 will know what they need to do in Huntsville because the Fire match will have completed by the time they kick at 7:03. And we'll have all the details about that at halftime and in the pregame show where we'll catch up with Steve Cook and folks. So 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock kick Eastern time. It's on MLS Season Pass, but you can catch it here on the SDH Network and soccerdownhere.net. So that's your stuff from MLS Next Pro. Stories on the day, and it is there's some stuff to talk about. There's some stuff to talk about. Anthony from Tom Phillips in Rio. Manchester United under pressure, once again from our friends at The Guardian, under pressure to drop forward Anthony after Brazil withdrew the footballer from their latest squad following serious allegations made by his former girlfriend of physical assault and the claim that the player threatened to kill her and attacked her with a glass. Brazilian website UOL reported the accusations, which Anthony called false, on Monday. Brazil's Seleção will now prepare for their World Cup qualifiers against Bolivia and Peru without Anthony. Brazil Football Confederation statement: as a result of the facts that have come to light and which need to be investigated. I would say information that's come to light, not necessarily facts yet, because if they have to be investigated, are they facts? But Brazilian Football Confederation statement reads: as a result of the facts that have come to light and which need to be investigated, and in order to safeguard the supposed victim, the player, and the Brazilian national team, the CBF have withdrawn him from the squad. UOL's expose contained a series of allegations from Cavayin, a DJ and social media influencer with nearly 500,000 Instagram followers. Anthony and Cavayin became a couple in 21 before his 2022 move from Ajax to Manchester United. Once again, this is from Tom Phillips out of Rio and The Guardian. Cavayin, who provided UOL with photographs and WhatsApp messages, alleges Anthony had first attacked her June 1 of last year when she was pregnant with their child and on holiday in Brazil. Claimed Anthony, who is 23, became angry after spotting her in a nightclub he was also at and, quote, put her in the car, repeatedly assaulted her and threatened to throw her out of the car at high speed, end quote. Cavayin told UOL, he said that if I wasn't going to be with him, I wouldn't be with anyone. I was shaking with fear, end quote. Second alleged attack allegedly took place in Manchester on January 15th of this year, one day after United's 2-1 win against Manchester City. According to the report, it left Cavayin needing medical attention in her room at the Hyatt Regency. Quote, he punched me and punched me in the breast and my silicone implant flipped over. Told the website, adding, he said, I didn't mean to hurt you. It was an accident. It wasn't a punch. I just held you against the wall, end quote. A photograph showed what Cavayin said was a head wound she had sustained in the attack. According to UOL's report, a third alleged attack took place on 8 May when Cavayin claims the player, quote, tried to attack her face with a glass, end quote, during an argument. While trying to defend herself, Cavayin said she had suffered a deep wound to a finger on her right hand, which left the bone exposed as she scrambled to book a flight back to Brazil to get away from the player. Cavayin wrote a message to the travel agent provided to UOL that said, I need to get out of here before he kills me. Accusations have sparked outrage in Brazil. In a statement, Anthony said, I can say with tranquility that I am innocent of the accusations that have been made. My relationship with Miss Gabriela was tumultuous, with insults made on both sides, but never did I commit any act of physical aggression, end quote. The Manchester United player claims his accuser had repeatedly changed her story over the alleged attacks. Quote, therefore, I vehemently deny these accusations and would like to make it clear that I remain willing to clear up whatever is necessary to Brazilian authorities. Other WhatsApp messages provided to Brazilian news outlets by Anthony's former girlfriend painted the player in a toxic light. I need some liquid. Quote, you and me are done. I hope you die, get effed, he wrote in one message. In another WhatsApp message, the footballer appeared to apologize for kicking and attacking Cavayin. In a statement to the Telegraph, Greater Manchester Police have said it was aware of the allegations made and inquiries remain ongoing to establish the circumstances surrounding this report. We will not be commenting any further at this time. So that's Anthony. You've got other things going on, other pieces of drama at Manchester United involving Jadon Sancho. Neymar says he and Messi lived through hell at PSG. In an interview with Globo that aired Sunday, he spoke about the mixed feelings he had when Messi won the World Cup. I was very happy for the year he had, but at the same time very sad because he lived both sides of the coin. He went to heaven with the Argentina team, won everything in recent years, and with Paris he lived hell. We lived through hell, both he and I. Neymar and Messi, once again, obviously they came under fire. They got booed. Quote, we get upset because we're not there for nothing. We're there to do our best, to be champions, try to make history. That's why we started playing together again. Unfortunately, we came together so we could make history. Unfortunately, we didn't make it. Abuse from fans is not a problem just in France, though. Neymar spoke about Vinicius Jr. and said it's sad. Today's world has changed a lot. All this prejudice with color. It's very sad to see a friend go through this. Not just a friend, but all the people who've gone through this and go through this on a daily basis. So without going into any real detail, Neymar said that he and Messi lived through hell other than just the booing that was going on. Jordan Henderson gave an interview, and he told the Athletic about going to play in the Saudi Pro League, about the frustration that is attached to Henderson, who was a high-profile supporter of LGBTQ rights when Liverpool told the Athletic in his first interview since his move to Al Ettifaq, he has been hurt by the criticism he's received and that his views have not changed. We saw in Qatar, it's fine to say you support these things, but actually there was no action. Oh, sorry, that's from Joe White. Henderson told the Athletic, I can understand the frustration. I can understand the anger. We'll get to that, Ricky. That's more breaking news since we talked about Rubiales in hour number 1. Jordan Henderson told the Athletic, I can understand the frustration. I can understand the anger. I get it. All I can say around that is I'm sorry that they feel like that. My intention was never ever to hurt anyone. My intention has always been to help causes and communities where I felt like they've asked for my help. When told the England LGBTQ fan group Pride in Football had urged its followers to turn their backs on him, Henderson said, quote, it hurts to hear that. I do care. I'm not one of these people who goes home, forgets about everything, and is just like, I'm fine, my family's fine, just crack on. I do think about things a lot, but at the same time, I knew people can look at it like that, and they're entitled to their opinion. They're entitled to feel like that. All I can say is that I apologize. I'm sorry I've made them feel that way, but I haven't changed as a person. Henderson said he understands the criticism he's received, but insists his values and beliefs have not changed. Quote, all I've ever tried to do is help, and when I've been asked for help, I've gone above and beyond to help. I've worn the laces. I've worn the armband. I've spoken to people in that community to try to use my profile to help them. That's all I've ever tried to do. Henderson, who said he would not have agreed to the move if Liverpool had wanted him to stay, said, I've never tried to change laws or rules in England, never mind in a different country where I'm not from. So I'm not saying I'm going there to do that. But what I am saying is people know what my values are, and the people who know me what my values are. My values don't change because I'm going to a different country where the laws of the country might be different. Now, I see that as a positive thing. I see that because from there, meaning the Saudi side, they knew that before signing it. So they knew what my beliefs were. They knew what causes and campaigns I've done in the past. Not once was it brought up. Not once have they said, you can do this, you can't do this. And I think it can only be a positive thing, trying to open up around Qatar. In the end, around Qatar, having a World Cup there shined a light on certain issues where I think in the end I might be wrong, but they changed some rules and regulations to be able to host the World Cup. And I think that's positive. That's the way you try to create positive change. Al Ettifaq were widely criticized for appearing to censor Henderson's support for the LGBTQ plus movement by graying out his rainbow armband on an image of the player when announcing his signing on social media. When asked if he would still wear his rainbow laces, Henderson said, quote, I wouldn't rule that out. But at the same time, what I wouldn't do is disrespect the religion and culture in Saudi Arabia by doing something like that. If they did disrespect the religion, then no, I'm not going to do that. But if the opportunity comes where I can do it and it doesn't, then yeah, because that's my values. Henderson, who dismissed reports he was earning $700,000 a week, said he's not been asked to promote Saudi Arabia on social media as a part of his deal. I would suggest to Jordan Henderson to perhaps do some reading and maybe catch up with, say, Jeremy Schaap or our friends at Yosemite Football or The Guardian or other places about what Qatar is and is not doing, or has and has not done, and how they treat migrant workers and continue to do so. So Jordan Henderson perhaps needs some requested reading, but do not be surprised, sir, if you try to do that if that your computers might be monitored. They'll take a peek at the websites that you look at. That's just me. Ricky, thank you. Hutch, I was a free man in Paris, not Neymar. Vilda out in Spain, and so of course, we have to give it the proper institutional alert here. Nothing like scanning up and down trying to hit. Per Reuters, the Spanish FA have fired Jorge Vilda as the head coach of the women's national team. Fired him for winning the World Cup. Okay. I can see how much more information we have on this. Reuters had 5 days ago that he was going to be sacked. Just for some background. Face down the player mutiny. And then once again, this is the word from Reuters, and this is before the breaking news this morning. To be sacked in the increasingly acrimonious fallout from the Jenny Hermoso incident involving his boss Luis Rubiales, according to a Football Federation source. Vilda backed the now suspended Rubiales, and the RFEF's new board is planning to terminate his contract after the coach refused a request to resign. That was 5 days ago. So now apparently it looks like Jorge Vilda is out the door finally, officially. AS said he could be sacked. But now, according to Reuters, it is apparently officially official that Vilda is gone after the initial thoughts posted by Reuters a handful of days ago saying that because he didn't sign the request to be sacked, toxic culture overshadowed on-field success and is his downfall. So Jorge Vilda out. Rob Harris is going to be a very, very busy man in his activities this afternoon. So Rob Harris is probably going to end up doing the car wash on Sky News about Jorge Vilda. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, Jorge Vilda fired. Thought it was going to happen 5 days ago. Now it has officially probably already been done. So Reuters is like, Vilda out. And he's out. Where's Rubiales in all of this? Yeah. Yeah, the thoughts this morning from you guys. Spanish FA, look over there. Exactly. Fired for turning his back on Rubiales after applauding his speech. So we'll see what happens. Do you think U.S. Soccer gives him a ring? I don't think so. It's too toxic. Too toxic. I think it's too toxic. Too TOO toxic. And I would have the Britney Spears music to violate a copyright or something, but no. I think it's too toxic. Anything close to that. You don't want to get anywhere near that. You don't want to get anywhere near it. So Jorge Vilda out as your manager in Spain. Once again, anything on the table this morning to catch you guys up. For those of you that were not here yesterday, there's anything on your mind, we'll go back through and catch up. We really didn't get into MLS on the whole this past weekend. So we'll probably spend some time there, go through all of the other stuff that's been going on in the world. Has world football on the whole ever been this tumultuous? Ricky, that's an interesting question. I mean, you look at things from the U.S. national team perspective, on the men's side, with Berhalter, Rubiales, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Russia and Ukraine, individual players running afoul of the law. I would say no, but I think part of that is the notion that the access to news and information is different. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, Ricky, that's it. Maybe in the internet age, we just know so much more, but this is crazy. I mean, yeah, it is. And with the speed that events happen, I think is the other part that's attached to all of this. We would know before the interwebs that it would take a while for information to circulate to a point to where you could sit there and go, oh, that happened. And then it's months ago and what have you. But now, with the immediacy of how things are, that's the tough part in all of this. It's like, all right, so immediate story, bang, immediate reaction, immediate this, immediate that, and then trying to figure out where people go from here. That's the larger part. The immediacy of information, I think, is and the world stage being what it is. And I think the soccer fan, soccer journalist being more worldly accessible to information, if that makes any sense, or accessible to world information is probably the better way to phrase it. Where, like I said, you got a guy like Rob Harris, they're going to dial him up. Rob, what's going on? He's in his office at home, and he's doing stuff on Sky talking about Jorge Vilda. We'll probably run that tomorrow. This is the downside of not having an afternoon drive show. But information comes out, bang. Information comes out, bang. You can talk about it. It's great for us from between 9 and 11, except when news breaks and it's like 11:15 and you're like, rah! But no, I think the immediacy of information and the immediacy of access to information, I think that also contributes to all of this. And knowing how people are geopolitically, like I said, with Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Russia and Ukraine, and you have all of these different things that go on the world stage, you know how those nations are. You know how those nations react. And so adding the geopolitical aspect to it, plus the immediacy of events, I think that it adds to the layers and the levels of all of the information that we have and access to it and how quickly we can turn things around. So I think that there's a lot to be said about it, and there's a lot of different directions that you can go when you're discussing it. So yeah, there's I think that just the speed of information, getting all of that attached, is where all of this goes. The RFEF, by the way, has apologized to the world of football and society as a whole and say that the actions of Luis Rubiales do not reflect the federations. Pedro Rocha, president of the RFEF, wanted to send a letter by way of apology and address to the world of football and to society as a whole. And so he sends out a massive paragraph. It is a 3-page letter from Pedro Rocha basically apologizing for the RFEF and their actions. So, yeah, that is available. That is available on any possible probable website that you can click onto. But yeah, apology from the head of the RFEF, 3 pages long, an official communique. The official draw is out, by the way, for the Club World Cup. And speaking of Club World Cup, Saudi champs Al Ittihad will face Auckland City. You don't think that they don't want to try to bring in Mo Salah by match one of the Club World Cup? You know, obviously, it's in December, but still, to have Mo Salah there, and there is talk that it would go $200 million for Mo Salah. $200 million. They'll go up to $200 million to bring him into the Saudi Pro League. Match one, first round, Al Ittihad takes on Auckland City. Match two in the second round. Yeah, and that's the thing, 4-card. Jurgen Klopp has basically said no amount of money, but let me go through the draw. Al Ahly takes on the winner of match one. Second round, Club Leon against Urawa Red Diamonds. How's that for familiarity? Semifinal, the winner of the Copa Libertadores takes on the winner of Al Ahly Al Ittihad at Auckland City. And the other semifinal is Manchester City taking on the winner of Leon and Urawa Red Diamonds. That is going to trip me up all day today. But 4-card, to your point. 4-card says Liverpool should take the money ASAP. It would help them out, no question. But we have always made the point here. We have always made the point. Everyone has a price. Dominic Soboschlei mentioned in an interview that it's like, yep, Mo's been in every meeting, and he's been talking about this week we're doing this, and this. And then when Jurgen Klopp was told that Dominic Soboschlei said that publicly, he's like, I mean, I believe him. That's just how Mo has been operating. But the questions from Mo Salah, yeah, $200 million, I know. Just want to sit there, they'll crack open their wallet. Hey, here's our black, our black platinum Amex that, will cut a table in 4 sections with its own edges. But $200 million is what you're staring at. Probably. Ben Jacobs, who is a must follow on the Twitters at Jacobs Ben, breaks all of this down as he always does. And so I would bookmark Jacobs Ben when you have the opportunity. Ben's very, very plugged into all this stuff. And when we gave him places to eat when he was here for the summer series, he took full advantage. But $200 million. First off, the Saudis come to Liverpool and go, how about 100? Liverpool's like, nah. Okay, then how about 150? Liverpool's like, nah. They'll go to 200 before the end of the window. And they'll probably do it again in January if it doesn't work this time. So if you are in this situation, it's going to come down to what Mo Salah wants. Jurgen Klopp and Tom Werner and all of those folks can sit there and say, nope, no amount of money is going to make us change our minds about Mo Salah staying here to be a part of things at Liverpool. But I hate to break it to Tom Werner and Jurgen Klopp, but it is not, in the end of the day, it is not your decision. If Mo Salah feels that he wants to be a part of this wave of talent that goes to the Saudi Pro League, and he wants to be a part of all, Benzema and Neymar and the rest of the all-star cast, then if he wants to go, the last thing you want, if you are a coach and a front office, the last thing you want is an unhappy talisman. Much like Colonel Nathan Jessup and A Few Good Men, you sit there, you tip your hat, you say thank you, and go on your way. If Mo Salah wants to go, then it would not behoove you in the world marketplace to sit there and continue to say, nope. If Mo Salah wants to go, that is where the end game is here. Liverpool could piss Mo Salah off and say no, and if Mo Salah wants to go, you don't want an unhappy person attached to all of this stuff. So if Mo Salah wants to go and 200 is on the table sometime in the next 48 hours to encourage Liverpool to tip their cap, give Mo Salah a big hug, and send him on his way. And I know there'll be a lot of Liverpool fans who'll be pissed, but there's no price tag out there that can be avoided. There's always going to be a price for every individual out there. Jordan Henderson found his price tag. And frankly, if Jordan Henderson had just said, you know, the money's fantastic, I'm going, and I'm sorry that I'm disappointing, you know, any fans back in England. I think that instead of reading what we read in the article from The Athletic, where, you know, it's like, well, I might not, you know, they haven't said I shouldn't do it, but, you know, if I can, then I might. Instead of saying that, just say, look, they gave me a fantastic contract. They gave me life-changing money. Liverpool wasn't going to do it. Saudi Pro League came to me and said, hey, you know, here, what about this? If you'd said that, all of these quotes that have come out in this article from The Athletic and the thought pattern about Jordan Henderson, I don't know if it would change, but at least it would be something where you wouldn't sit there and say, why are we ignoring the elephant in the room and the contract here? Same thing, except that you're adding zeros and paying $78 million a year for Mo Salah to hang out and be your leading scorer. Everyone's got a price. And if Liverpool says no to $200 million and Mo Salah's like, yo, hang out for a second, for Liverpool to say no to Mo Salah would damage them in the world soccer marketplace. Mo Salah wants to go and the PIF is ready to fork over $200 million. Take that $200 million, get yourself 4 players in the January window. I know it would handicap you immensely from where you are right now. But if Mo Salah in the next 48 hours decides he wants to go 9 figures to the left of the decimal place, then the man should be allowed to go. Right now, they're third in the table. They've won 3 of their first 4. That 1-1 draw to Chelsea's hanging out right now. But keep an eye on the Saudi Pro League for the next 2 days. They're going to want to do some serious dancing and try to bring in more talent. And as I will continue to tell you, I have zero interest in it. The only interest I had in it was when Pity Martinez went. When Pity Martinez left Atlanta United and went over to the Saudi League, I was interested. I was, you know, it's like, how is Pity going to do? And over my shoulder, over my left shoulder, in the stacks right here, there is a scarf from that club. And there is a jersey from that club that is upstairs in the jersey closet because of Pity Martinez. The current state of affairs, I have zero interest. I have less than no interest in the Saudi Pro League. I will not watch. I won't watch the 30-minute recap, review, preview show. Zero interest in it whatsoever. No engagement at all. But they have decided, the PIF, that with their big four, they're going to spend whatever money they feel like they want to try to add legitimacy to something that is, according to Cristiano Ronaldo, CR38 says, yeah, it's on par with Major League Soccer. Other analytics would tell you differently. But, you're paid to say that. I get that. Hutch, I don't care if they drive up their own costs of putting teams on the field, but the knock-on effect of this irrational salary inflation are going to bite everyone in their collective tushes. You're not wrong. Because when you have all of these folks that want to sit there and spend all this money, you are going to artificially inflate the market, and you will price folks out of it from an ownership perspective who are chasing after players. But the question is, when it comes to the Saudi Pro League, this is not the Chinese Premier League where, she is not backing the activities of the Chinese Super League. President Xi was not doing anything like that, as far as I can think. But you've got the Big Four backed by the Saudi PIF. And they want to bring in as many all-stars as humanly possible. How long is it sustainable? I think as long as they want it to be. How long do they continue to feel like they should invest to elevate their status on the world stage? Yeah, and the irony, Ricky, yes. Fox deciding to air a review preview show for the Saudi Pro League, but never once aired MLS's review show. Should tell you something about the current marketplace. And I still think the Saudis are going to chase after. As much as they say 2034, I still think for their Vision 2030 project, having a World Cup in 2034 doesn't do them any good. I still think they're going to chase after the World Cup in 2030. So we'll keep an eye on that. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Who's going where, who's not going where, who's doing what to watch. Your gossip for the morning. Apparently, according to the four-letter paper, once again, take the information at your own peril. A delegation from Saudi Arabia is in England to make one last push. And it is at that 200 million figure. Besiktas closing a deal for Arsenal's Nicola Pepe. Jadon Sancho, once again, from our friends at The Telegraph. We mentioned the Jadon Sancho situation yesterday. According to The Telegraph, Jadon Sancho will be frozen out at Manchester United this season unless he finds an escape route in Saudi Arabia, according to Rio Ferdinand. Chelsea considering making a move for Ivan Toney once the January window opens. Remember that price tag's $80 million. Sergio Ramos rejected a late transfer offer from Manchester United before sealing a return to Sevilla. Three-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. West Ham expected to make a short-term contract offer to England midfielder Jesse Lingard during the international break. 90 Minutes say Al Ettifaq are hoping to sign Damari Gray. He is keen to leave, but there's an issue. Everton does not want Damari Gray to go. So there's a bit of an issue there. And so keeping an eye on what's there. What happens in that idea? Chasing after players from Wolves if they cannot get Damari Gray. Damari Gray wants to go. But whether or not he's allowed to go is the question. But Damari Gray does want to go. So keep an eye on Damari Gray in the transfer situation. Newcastle's Jamal Lascelles is a target for Al-Shabaab in the Saudi Pro. Slip down the pecking order at St. James, could be tempted by an offer. Anderlecht closing in on Kasper Schmeichel after he left Nice last week. He's also attracted interest from Chelsea, Forest, and Brentford over the summer, 4-letter paper. Manchester United still trying to sell Donny van de Beek with the Saudi Pro League window closing Thursday. Hugo Lloris set to remain at Spurs until at least January after turning down a host of offers over the summer. Let's check the other papers and see what's going on. Let's see what's going on there today. Apologizing for the enormous damage caused by the action of its suspended president, Luis Rubiales. The transfer center, we mentioned Ramos going to Sevilla. Jurgen Klopp says he has no doubts over Salah's future. Morelos from Rangers is set to join Santos in Brazil. 27-year-old was a free agent after his contract expired in the summer, joined Rangers in 2017, scored 78 goals for the team that plays at Ibrox. Not a whole lot of movement today. More on the Vilda firing, obviously, before we go. Rubiales, remember, addressed Vilda directly in that speech, the Friday speech, where he was storming and stomping, calling him the best coach in women's football, offering him a new €500 million a year, 4-year deal. He was on a 170. Vilda released a statement criticizing Rubiales after the speech, stopped short of calling for his resignation or dismissal. Ricky, that's what you were discussing. All of Vilda's 11-strong backroom team resigned, leaving him without any players or coaches. World champs have Nations League games against Sweden and Switzerland in September. De La Fuente is safe. Released a statement criticizing the suspended president, apologized on Friday for clapping. Gareth Southgate is going to leave his England role after Euro 2024 as the FA targets Pep Guardiola as a successor. Keeping that in mind, once again, that's from the 4-letter paper. So keep that information where you like to keep that. Let's see if there's any. Chelsea were poised to sign, according to the Times, Club Brugge forward Antonio Nusa on deadline day fell through, and Ian Matson decided not to leave on a permanent to Burnley. Stadium safety chiefs are to liaise, the Sky's word, with local government officers in the wake of the concrete crisis in schools to establish whether there are any issues at grounds around Britain built or updated during the same period. Let's see. Panama defender, and this is from The Guardian, Panama defender Gilberto Hernandez has died after being shot in the city of Colón on Sunday, according to the Panama Football League. The 3-letter paper is saying that the deal for Salah is now up to $215. I'm just using that as a number. Like I said, it's the 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. $215 million. So that's what you're looking at there. Paul Pogba has been handed another injury setback. Weeks after making his long-awaited return to action with Juve, Wales captain Aaron Ramsey has backed Brennan Johnson to shine at Spurs. Xavi has extended his contract with the club till June of 2026, according to to reports in Spain. Daily Express, Chelsea were reportedly offered the chance to sign Jadon Sancho as a part of a swap deal in the summer. Agent of Arsenal star Jorginho has rubbished, it's good to know that can be turned into a verb, rubbished talk of an exit. The Italy international has been linked with a move to Fenerbahce. Eric Bailly has reportedly a 1-year deal with Besiktas. Social media has him signing. Turkish outlet Aspor claims the defender is still negotiating with Manchester United to terminate the contract. Daily Telegraph, Manchester United will lose Onana to AFCON in January if Cameroon qualify for the tournament next week after he confirmed he was coming out of international retirement. And in Scotland, Rangers want answers from the SFA over their disallowed Old Firm goal. Kamar Roof had a first-half strike controversially chalked off at the Ibrox in their 1-0 defeat to Celtic. Daniel Podence set to leave Wolves after months of speculation. Winger was linked with Celtic during the window. Brendan Rodgers stepped up his chase for a replacement for fellow countryman Jota. We mentioned Morelos. And Central Coast Mariners boss Nick Montgomery has emerged as a favorite to become Hibbs' new manager. Cabbage for everybody. What you can watch today. See what we've got. I'm fairly certain we've got Libertadores and things like that on the tube. We got a lot of college soccer. Boy, do we have a lot of college soccer. ACC Extra. Actually, it's just a lot of college today. Okay. And then college action on the Plus starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Stony Brook and GW, ending at 8 o'clock with Missouri State and Tulsa on the men's side. So men's soccer on Tuesday, all across the board. And Ricky with a public service announcement, February 25th, Sevilla is at the Bernabeu. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Let's see, what else are we missing here? U.S. U17's youth national team is headed to the Czech Republic for the Ježek Cup, the Václav Ježek Cup. Frequently played in the U18 competition. They're sending the U17s for the tournament this time. Most notable absence is top scorer Karol Figueroa. He's injured. 2 players playing with the U17s for the first time, goalkeeper Zach Campagnolo, who left the Orlando City Academy to join Colorado Rapids Academy, and LAFC Academy attacking midfielder Matthew Evans, who began the U17 cycle with Guatemala, but couldn't play with the CONCACAF U17 championship host earlier in the year because he was ill. Adam Beaudry, the other U17 keepers in the Colorado Rapids Academy, Diego Cocan, expected to be the U17 starting keeper, promoted to Barcelona's first team. And U17 squad includes 16 players born in 06, 3 in 07, 1 in 08. Charlotte's FC's Burundi-born forward Nimfasa Berkimas, who you've seen and heard here on the network with Crown Legacy, taking on Atlanta United 2. So Tyler Hall, you'll remember him from Inter Miami, one of the defenders. You've also got Peyton Miller, a defender with the Revs, Revolution 2. You'll remember him. Taha Habrun with the Crew is on midfield on this roster. Berkimas at forward. And Brian Romero at forward, also from Crown Legacy. So that's your U17 roster that is heading to the Václav Ježek Cup in Czechoslovakia. So there's all of that. Serie A, we've got the US AC Milan staying perfect with Christian Pulisic. Mamadou Fall heading to Barca. And trying to see what else have I missed here today. Is there any other stories that I've missed before tomorrow once again? Reffing down here at 10:30, plus international stuff. And hopefully Dylan Butler can join us at 10 o'clock. Hour number 1 will be whatever you wish. Julian Lopetegui, according to our friends at the Telegraph, agreed to a Wolves payoff reduction on his £8 million salary as a part of summer cuts. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka is in talks over a long-term deal at Manchester United. 145 million pound summer cuts. Lopetegui agreed to a payoff reduction. It's like, look, I'm out. I'll take less. I want to leave. 140 million raised in player sales. Exit of Lopetegui and Nunez. 17 players departing in total at Wolves. And that's why I have them as one of my concerns in the Premier League this year. Wolves, Everton, Sheffield United, Luton. Those are my 4 for the 3 slots. I think Burnley makes it, and I think that Bournemouth makes it. 17 players, including Nunez's £53 million sale to Manchester City. Lopetegui was on $8 million a year, made an honorable gesture to reduce his settlement. Nunez fined 2 weeks' wages for refusing to train. Wolves avoided further sales of key players, including Neto, Jose Sa, and Ryan Ait-Nouri. And the player exodus will help fund a striker search in January if they get there in one piece. Gary O'Neill, remember, he is in charge. And that's what you're looking at Wolves. They're in a position, apparently, to sign folks again. Che Adams and Salernitana's Bulay Dia discussed on the last day, agreed that they would not panic. They'll just wait until January, when they will be panicking. They did spend around $27.5 million on new signings over the summer. Midfielders Jean-Rigner Bellegarde and Girona's center half Santiago Bueno. So Neto being targeted by Arsenal. Forest had been targeting Sa. Leipzig made an offer for Bueno. Nice wanted Ait Nouri. Mateus Cunha has interest from abroad. I'm sorry, Wolves are in trouble. And a note from Tommy Scoops before we go. Yes, okay, there we go. Diego Koken included in Barcelona's official Champions League roster. Been on the bench for Barcelona's last 3 La Liga games as he continues to progress at the club. So that's why Diego Koken, he's got other things going on. Diego Koken is Liverpool. I mean, for Barcelona on their official Champions League roster, good for you. 17-year-old U.S. Youth International. Well done. Nicely done there. Let's see. Anything else before we go? Oh, there's also talk after what we were discussing yesterday involving the alleged apparent headbutt attempt at Roy Keane that it looks like that the pundits for Sky might be getting bodyguards and protection. And you got to know that security's got to be better, especially here in Major League Soccer, especially with Messi and friends. If you see that on the weekend, folks just running out of the field, out of the 32-52. Security for that match in Atlanta is probably going to be as airtight as humanly possible. But security's got to get better in Major League Soccer. It really does. All right. That'll do it. We got stuff to talk about. Like I said, we're chasing after guests. We're chasing after a lot of guests. Thanks to Lloyd Owers today, giving the update on the Marshall Islands project. That's going to be a continuing storyline for us as we continue to see how the last nation on this planet gets a national football team. Starting with futsal, working their way forward. So USL Championship, USL League One, MLS Next Pro. That's later today. The episodics on the network. And we're chasing after a bunch of guests for the remainder of this week and next week. Later, tomorrow, once again, Dylan and Bart. Thanks, Ricky, as always. USL guys from the USL show will be with us Thursday. Nico Moreno will be with us Thursday. And 9:30, don't know if the guys from Beyond Goals are going to call international break or not. 10 o'clock, we'll do a weekend whip around, get you ready for the weekend, bunch of stuff. So, like I said, we're also chasing after folks. So it's going to be a pretty busy week from a guesting standpoint this week and next because of international play and CONCACAF Nations League, and we'll get into all that stuff as we go. Ricky, as always, thanks for being an intrepid reporter and an intrepid pursuer on the 280 character app because you're faster on it than I am. We'll be back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning. Since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Play it safe, everybody. Be safe on a Tuesday. We'll be back at it again if I can get my upper plate to work on a wall past Wednesday. Much plot, y'all. Be good.